1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Bossman says Semi Gonzalez, hello mate, good to see you, Bossman. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for the final time here for season 14 on Project Cars 2. We are here tonight as Silverstone Classic for the final race of the BTCC, and championship still on the line tonight for the final round of the season. Not quite the unbelievable 5 drivers that we had coming into the last season's finale in with a shout at the championship. This season it boils down to 4 drivers, although realistically probably 3 at this point, with Captain Harlock a long way behind in the point standings after the drop rounds come into play. So I'm going to read out these drop round scores here currently as things stand in this season. So let me just get up the info, the TC info, and then that will tell us what the drop round scores are. Obviously it's Mike who leads the way coming into this one on 508 points. After drop rounds come into play, he is 28 points ahead of Cobb, who sits in second place on 480. So 28 points separating Mike and Cobb. John Boy sits 4 points behind Cobb in third place. He's on 476 points. He is 32 points behind the championship leader Mike. So Cobb and John Boy both need Mike to really have a bit of a slip up in this final round of the season. But anything can happen at Silverstone Classic. It's always an unpredictable circuit. It's one of those where, you know, you're never too far away from a mistake. It's an uncompromising track. So I wouldn't put it past something strange to happen tonight. And I'm sure that John Boy and Cobb just need to make sure they're up there or thereabouts in every race this evening, and they might have a chance of being able to nab Mike to this title. But Mike definitely the hot favourite coming into tonight. John Boy obviously the reigning champion, the 3-time champion of the touring car division here at Motive. Mike is a 2-time champion. These two have got 5 championships between them, and I think they've also got the last. Oh no, hold on, no, they've got 4. They've got the last 4 between them. So no, hold on, I'm just trying to work it out. No, they've got the last 3 between them, because Mike took 2 in a row, and then John Boy took the last one. But John Boy's 2 before that came actually quite a long time ago. He won them about a couple of years ago. That was, I think, in the spring. I think he won one of them actually in 2020, and he won the other one in the spring of 2021. And there was a 2-year gap between his second championship and his third, which he won a couple of months ago it was. He took his 3rd championship, so there was a 2-year gap between his second and his 3rd championships. But there, these two, they've won the last 3 touring car championships. Cobb is the pretender here for this one. He's the one who's technically got nothing to lose, really. He's never won a championship at the top level here at Motive. He's won the Tier 2 for the GT3s back when we had a lot of people racing on Project Cars 2. Back when Project Cars 2 was still a semi-relevant title. Nowadays, obviously, I run leagues onto Project Cars 2 because I love this game. It's got a special place in my heart, but it's definitely not a relevant racing game anymore. It's now 6 years old, and it's seen better. It's seen a lot more attention than it gets nowadays. But I just can't stop running on it. I just love it. I just think it's my favourite sim racing title of all time. But obviously, back then Cobb won the Tier 2s for the GT3s when we had a lot of drivers driving in our Saturday GT3 League on Project Cars 2, and he then got promoted to Tier 1 where he won a few races. But that's the title, that's the championship that he's won. Obviously, he did win every single round of that season as well. Took 6 from 6 over the course of that season. But in terms of a top level, top tier championship, Cobb has never actually been the winner. So could he be doing it tonight? Obviously, we were saying this time last season, back in the final race of the season, he took the win in the first race of the night and came into the second race leading the championship, and then it was that heartbreaking disconnection midway through the second race which pretty much put paid to his chances of being able to take that championship. And I can recall vividly the sinking feeling that I felt when I saw Cobb disappear first of all, and then looked at the graphic and saw that it disconnected. And I just remember, I remember it very clearly. It was horrible. But it looks like this is it. This is the practice session done here. The Mutt's taking the fastest time. He hasn't put his 100 litres in, so he needs to make sure he's carrying that for the races here tonight, because obviously he is a reserve, so he does need to carry 100 litres, and hopefully he sticks that in the car for the because obviously this is practice, so I'm not gonna go in on him for not having it in practice. Obviously it makes no difference to anything but he will need to have that in for the races here tonight and for the second qualifying session as well. But that is that then for the practice here, guys. That is that's the situation here. So the Mutts Nuts, John Boy, Mike and Cobb taking the 4 fastest times here in the practice session. And obviously Mike coming into this with a 30-point lead in the championship, or 28-point lead in the championship over Cobb, with John Boy sat in 3rd place, 32 points off of Mike. And the other driver who is still in mathematical contention at this point is Captain Harlock, but I reckon that it's going to be a very, very tall order for Captain Harlock to take this title. With the situation now, he's way too far behind. He's about 66 points behind, so I reckon if he has a bad result in this particular race here, he's out of the championship running. But here we go then, guys. We're going to proceed to the first race of the night here for this final round of the season here for season 14 at Motive for the Touring Car Championship. And obviously what a season it's been. We've seen trials, we've seen tribulations, we've seen lots of action, we've seen some big incidents, we've seen some fantastically close racing, but it all comes down to this. This is where it all is going to be decided. Got a few comments coming in here as well. Seb saying, when are we doing the lie detector thing? Whenever you like, mate. I've put out an open invitation to anyone, whether they be law enforcement, whether they be private individuals, whether they be anybody who's even friends, even you know, people who want to know serious truths about me. You know, they can ask me, and I'm more than happy to indulge, because I've got nothing to hide, obviously, because I haven't actually yet. But anyway, no, anybody wants to do a lie detector on me, I am more than happy to partake. But anyway, we got Emma saying, have a great final round, guys. Good luck, John Boy and Aussie. Been a great season to watch. Paul Crowther saying, evening Andy, evening Paul. John Boy for the championship. Good luck to all the lads. So he's definitely getting the support down there for our 3-time champion, who is coming into this one as the outsider here tonight. Him and Cobb both pretty much outsiders in this one. Mike is the hot favourite, as we said, with the situation being as it is, with him having a 28-point lead in the championship after drop rounds come into effect. Captain Harlock needs to win this first race of the night if he is to keep himself in mathematical contention coming into the next 2 races of tonight. So here we go, we're just about to get going for the formation lap here, and then we should be getting underway for the first time here this evening. So we're just putting off for the line now. We'll be getting into reverse order based on the championship standings coming into tonight, and then yeah, essentially that'll be how we're doing it here. So RJ Dale will be leading us around. It'll be oh sorry guys, yeah, RJ Dale leading us around, Revolt Detailer in P2 with Doris Steer 3rd, and then it will be Team MW P4, with Aussie P5, Charlie Goff in 6th, with Nick Lavilla 7th, then you've got Craig in 8th, Cobb 9th, Captain Harlock P10. I think that Cobb should be behind Captain Harlock, so Cobb should be in P10. Hopefully that message or that situation gets conveyed, or may actually, hold on a second. Oh, you know what? No, Captain, they are in the right place actually. It's really hard for me to get with this, obviously, because of the drop rounds coming into play. Obviously, Captain's actually ahead of Cobb in the championship before drop rounds come in. That's how many points Captain drops, obviously, because Cobb missed a round, so gets quite lucky with his grid positions and his drop rounds. But I think had the sort of the mountain to climb, the in terms of mentally, obviously felt like he would have had a lot more work to do this season, because he's never really been a high flyer in the championship. He's kind of had that reassurance of knowing that he's got the drop rounds come into effect, but has always felt, you know, kind of like he's had that, he's been on the back foot, so to speak, with having to chase down the gap. But yeah, now is his chance to really make the most of the good fortune that has come his way with some of his grid positions. And as I say, tonight doesn't have to carry as much fuel in the car as John Boy, Mike and Captain do, as my computer's now just decided it doesn't want to load my browser, so I can't see my internet browser right now. It's just now not doing what I want it to do. It's now not, it's failing to be a computer. But Here we go then, guys. We're racing here for the first race of the night. RJ Dale leading us, coming into Cop's Corner for the first time. Revolt detail all over the back of him there with Doris Deer, Team MW, Aussie, Charlie, and you've got Nick Craig, head of Cobb captain, Mike, John Boy, and the Mutts Nuts at the back of the pack here as we come down towards Maggots and Beckett's here for the first time. And currently RJ Dale trying to get Revolt detailer. Doris Deer is trying to keep tabs with him at the moment here as they come through Beckett's right now. Oh, and Doris has gone really deep there and gets wide there onto the grass, and that is a massive shame, and he's going to lose places here. He's going to lose out to Team MW, and Aussie Albie moves through as well there, so Doris Deer losing a couple of places as now Charlie's going to move through as well ahead of Doris Deer. So does Nick, so Doris Deer dropping down the order like a stone right now, down to 8 behind Craig. Cobb's going to be on him. Oh, it's Cobb squeezing Captain Harlock to the edge of the track here. Captain looking to make a move here into Stowe Corner. Can Captain Harlock get himself in front of Cobb here as these two are dicing it out, and Captain there squeezes through. Cobb a little bit wide onto the grass. In the background there you've got Mike trying to squeeze through the gap here ahead of John Boy. John Boy on the inside of Mike right now as Cobb there moving across on John Boy. Are we 3 wide in towards Club Corner? We are 3 wide. Mike there getting pushed wide onto the grass as Cobb goes a little bit wide as well, but Mike there losing out and is just ahead of Doris Deer and the Mutts Nuts at the moment. The Mutts Nuts here getting ahead of Doris Deer up into 12th place, but it's currently of the championship contenders. It's John Boy, Cobb and Mike all together right now in 9th, 10th and 11th places. You've got RJ Dale leading the race ahead of Revolt Detailer, followed by Team MW with Aussie Albie running in 4th place. Charlie Goff ahead of Nick Lavilla, followed by Craig, Captain Harlock, and then John Boy, Cobb, Mike, the Mutts Nuts and Doris Deer at the back at the moment. But RJ Dale and Revolt Detailer currently battling over P1 at this point, looking pretty close, and Revolt Detailer looking to try and get on with it here. Obviously a big chance for him to maybe nick a race win in this final race of the season, or this final round of the season should I say, but it looks like Mike has managed to John Boy's managed to get ahead of Captain Harlock, so John Boy's got ahead of Mike's teammate there, and he's now looking down the inside of Craig as well. John Boy here is going to send one into Beckett's, and he's going to look down the inside. Oh, he almost tags Nick Lavilla in the rear there, makes the move on Craig despite having to get out of it a little bit there with Nick right in front of him. Computer's still not loading, so I'm still waiting for that to come up, but right now we're coming down the hanger straight here for the first time in this first race of the night, and John Boy now trying to attack on the back of Nick Lavilla here. Nick Lavilla's got Charlie just in front of him. John Boy's down the inside into Stowe Corner. He had a very late move there up the inside. Oh, and there's contact there, and John Boy pushes Charlie a little bit wide. Charlie off onto the grass, and John Boy, they're keeping the momentum going as they're now coming down towards Club Corner. Now he's got Nick Lavilla up his inside, and we see 3 wide in the background. Oh no, and there's contact there in the background. Oh, and there's a big crash. Oh, and Nick Lavilla goes into the side of was that Captain Harlock? It was Captain Harlock there who got tagged by Nick Lavilla. Nick Lavilla's down to the back, and he's got big damage here on this opening lap of the race. John Boy making his way up into 4th place has made incredible progress here in the first couple of laps of this race as Captain here, sorry Mike even looking on the back of Cobb here as they're coming into the final chicane. Oh, and Cobb there down the inside gets the move done there, but he's going to go a little bit deep there as Mike manages to get the run there on Craig and gets himself up into the 7th place, but Cobb there going deep into the chicane and didn't manage to get a move done on Charlie, and now he's got Mike looking to his outside here into Cobb's corner, but Cobb defends the inside line and stays ahead of Mike for the time being and manages to survive in that one. But Mike's going to try and get the run here down towards Maggots and Beckett's. We go here on lap 4 of the race. These two are side by side. They're both championship contenders, and Mike obviously with a lot more to lose here. Cobb is going to be probably trying to go a bit aggressive here, trying to force Mike into a bit of a mistake if he possibly can. Mike down the inside through Beckett's we go in Chapel now, and it's Mike there up into 6th place, making a move there on Cobb brilliantly. Paul Crowther there in the comments saying Nick Lavilla has no luck at all. Well, if he didn't have, I'll tell you what, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. Cobb was saying to me beforehand, and it's pretty much the way that Nick Lavilla's season always goes. Well, certainly this season anyway, as Mutts Nuts there down the inside of Craig into Stowe Corner and gets himself up into 7th place. Brilliant job there from him. In the background, Doris Deer getting wide. Oh, Doris Deer's lost it, and he's slid into the grass there, and that's going to give RJ Dale P11, and Doris Deer having a major moment. In the meantime, John Boy's all over the back of Team MW and Revolt Detailer. Team MW's made the move here on Revolt Detailer, but Revolt Detailer getting back ahead of him as they come through what's essentially Priory, I think it is, and down towards the chicane we come once again, and that's now John Boy up into 2nd place, mugging both of them too. They're still battling as they're coming through the chicanes, but Revolt Detailer just stays ahead there of Team MW as they come out to the start finish straight. Now Mike's looking down the inside of Team MW as well here. Cobb down in 11th place. He's struggling here in the first race of the night, and I think that his championship may now be hanging by a thread here as he's well behind John Boy and Mike, his championship rivals, in 2nd and 4th places. John Boy's made incredible progress in the first few laps of this race. Mike here, though, has followed him all the way, as we can see now. Mike's trying to make a move on Team MW into Beckett's we go. Team MW trying to keep himself there in that fight. Mike goes very deep, gets wide there onto the grass as well, and Team MW will get back ahead of him here, and maybe Charlie might be able to get him as well, coming out of Chapel Curve onto the hanger straight, and Charlie is going to get the run here on Mike, so Mike losing a couple of places there, and Team MW and Charlie back up into 4th and 5th places respectively here. But John Boy all over the back of his teammate Ozzy. Is Ozzy going to fight him too hard, knowing that John Boy has a slim chance of a championship here tonight, as Team MW down the inside of Revolt Detailer there into Stowe Corner. Has he got a move done here, coming down towards Club? In the background there, that's Captain Harlock getting it horribly wrong there, coming out of Stowe Corner. Here we come into Club as Captain Harlock, Mike even looking around the outside here. He's got the move done on Charlie. Now he's going to look to try and get Revolt Detailer as well. He's managed to get ahead of him, so Mike there up a couple of places there. Can now try and chase down Team MW as we now come down towards the chicane once again, as we've got side by side here between Revolt Detailer and Charlie Goff. Down towards the chicane we go, but Mike here all over the back of Team MW right now as Revolt Detailer goes late on the brakes. He goes a little bit deep though, and that might give Charlie a bit of a run here, coming out of the final corner onto the start finish straight. As here we go, Charlie Goff here with a bit of a run. He's going to look to the inside now. Revolt Detailer is just going to squeeze him there, and he's going to hold the position there, so Leo keeping onto that one just about. Team MW still ahead of Mike at this point. But dramatic first few laps to this first race of the night here. The situation right now is that John Boy's leading the race, so Ozzy Albie presumably didn't fight that one too hard, because John Boy's obviously got ahead of him. His teammate now leads the race. Mike is still stuck behind Team MW at the moment, so Team MW could prove to be a bit of a party people here for Mike, but obviously the gap that John Boy has got to overhaul to Mike is 32 points. As things stand, if they're able to finish right now, he'd gain 8 points on him. If he were to get the fastest lap, he'd gain 10 points on him. So John Boy still needs more in these final few races of the season here. But as Mike here looking down the inside of Team MW into Stowe Corner, I think it's not going to be job done there for him. I think it might be Team MW going to get a run coming out of Stowe, and Mike there didn't get a good exit there, and now Team MW is going to look to the inside here into Club Corner. They're side by side. Has he got himself alongside here? Mike holding it around the outside, going a little bit brave there, but he's got that one done, and Mike there up into 3rd place, into the podium places here. Ozzy now needs to play the team game, needs to try and keep the gap to Mike, and if he doesn't manage to keep the gap, he'll need to try and defend like crazy from him, because John Boy needs the points over Mike at the moment. Currently he's not going to be scoring a huge amount over him, with Mike running in 3rd place. Team MW there in 4th ahead of the Mutt-Nuts, followed by Revolt Detail. You've got Captain Harlock not too far behind them, ahead of Charlie Goff, with RJ Dale there running in 9th place. Big gap back to Cobb running in P10, and you've got Nick a couple of seconds ahead of Doris Deer and Craig at this point. But dramatic first few laps to this first race of the night, and it's currently John Boy who's doing everything he needs to do so far in this first race. But with Mike running in 3rd place, it's going to be a really tall order for him to take this championship. We've lost a driver here from the early stages, or rather we're almost halfway through the race now, but we have definitely lost a driver from the race, and I'm just cross-referencing the stream just to see who it was, because we've definitely lost one. We did have 13, we now got 12 drivers in the race. I think it might have been a disconnection for somebody, because it's not oh, it's Cobb. So Cobb's retired from the first race of the night. Oh no, and it's that maybe because he's feeling a bit deflated possibly. Now his championship hopes might be out of the door here. Obviously Cobb came into this 28 points behind the championship leader Mike, and looks like his championship hopes are over after the first race of the night, which is really gutting there. Obviously we've still got John Boy and Mike, still John Boy mathematically in contention for this season's title, but he's got a second back to his teammate Ozzy, who's currently a second and a half ahead of John Boy's championship rival Mike. Mike obviously has a big lead in the championship, but as things stand, John Boy will keep the fight alive until at least the second to last race here. Always Mutt-Nuts here going around the outside of Team MW and gets it done there, so the Mutt-Nuts gets himself up into 4th place. Good move there around the outside of the final corner. Nicely done there from the Mutt-Nuts. But currently the situation right now, John Boy leads the race by just under a second as we're coming down towards Magus Beckett's for the 8th time in the race. There's Ozzy Albie, who's just behind him. Mike within 2 seconds of the race leader at this point. So what can these guys do? What can Ozzy do to try and keep Mike at bay, knowing that his teammate needs to score the points here tonight, as we've got fair old way left to go here tonight. So Jazzman here in the comments doing a little dab there for the cameras, or doing quite a few dabs I've got to say, as he goes. Andy in the comments there, good to see you as always, mate. Welcome to the channel. Obviously Jazzman managed to take the took one win yesterday night at Kota in the Sprint League on ACC. Took the race, winning race 1 of the night, and obviously came from the back of the pack to finish in P4, I think it was, in the race 2. Well, P4, P3, can't remember. But I know you drove. I think it was P3. It was P3 actually. So you came from 12th to finish in 3rd in the second race. Had an absolute cracker of a night last night, did Jazzman. But yeah, good to see him in the comments here tonight. He's our 5-time champion on the PS5 here at Motive on ACC as well. And we're currently still watching this battle here between John Boy, Aussie and Mike. Mike's creeping closer to the leaders right now, and I wonder what sort of defence Aussie Albie's going to be able to put up once Mike appears on the back of him. Always Aussie there, very wide, coming out of the final corner. Keeps the momentum. Oh, in the background there, that was the Nuts who lost it coming to the final corner, and he's now lost out to Team MW Revolt Detailer and Captains. The Nuts there, maybe with a bit of damage on the front of the car as well. He's left the left front of the car went absolutely steaming into the wall, so he might have suffered quite a bit of performance loss there in that one, and he's now down in 7th place. He's got 4 seconds back to Charlie Goff, but with the damage, is that gap going to come down here in the last part of this race? I think it might well do, as in the meantime we've got Mike here all over the back of Aussie Albie as they're coming through Chapel Curve. These guys though have closed up onto the back of John Boy. So did John Boy make a mistake on that last lap? Because it was a 1:31 lap there from John Boy. He was nearly a second and a half slower than Mike, so clearly struggling a little bit last time around was John Boy as we come down towards Stowe. Or is he trying to maybe force Mike into a mistake here? Is he trying to be a bit of a thorn in the side here for Mike potentially? Maybe he's playing a few games here as John Boy, or possibly he's just struggling here at this point. Or is he trying to squeeze to both of them here to the inside, as Mike looking down the inside of Aussie Albie into club corner we go. Aussie's trying to keep himself there, but he can't do it any longer because Mike managed to find a way through there up into P2. So Mike Gaming there now running in 2nd place. What can John Boy do to keep these guys behind him as we're coming down towards the final chicane once again? Aussie now trying to come back at Mike here as to come down towards the braking zone here, and Mike now defending the inside line, but here comes Aussie. He's looking to the inside here into the chicane. He's looking to 7 up the inside. He can't do it. He's too far back as Aussie goes a little bit deep there coming to the chicane, and nothing doing there between those guys. Mike there holding on for that 2nd place for the time being. He's done a good job here in this race of following John Boy through the pack, and it's currently now John Boy 1 and 2. John Boy and Mike 1 and 2 here after both of them starting from the back of the pack. It's been unbelievable driving from both of those guys here tonight. The 2 championship contenders absolutely flying around Silverstone Classic here this evening. And they're currently separated by 0.2 of a second as they come down towards Maggots and Beckett's here on lap 10 of the first race of the night, as John Boy, a bit of a lock up there, cuts the corner there at Beckett's as well. If that was track limits, that would have been an automatic ping. I'm absolutely certain of that. But obviously because we try and trust the drivers, there's no such issues. But down the hanger straight we come, and Mike's got a bit of a run to the outside. John Boy with the inside line, he's trying to bump Mike a little bit. He's trying to unsettle him ever so slightly if he possibly can. Into Stowe corner we go. Who's going to get the better run? Mike on the outside might be able to carry more momentum here than John Boy. John Boy is on the inside there, managed to squeeze him to the edge of the track there, and Mike there onto the grass a little bit. John Boy is just squeezing Mike out of the way here as we come down towards club corner. John Boy slightly ahead into the braking zone and gets the move done there on the inside. Squeezes Mike and once again just closes the door on him. There's no way through here, and John Boy now trying to push Mike out to the edge of the track once again here. So John Boy is really playing a bit of a gamesmanship type of tactic here right now. He's trying to force Mike into a mistake. Mike is trying to take the lead of the race and trying to extend his gap over John Boy. John Boy needs Mike to really bin it or to do something pretty drastic here. At the moment, John Boy still has the lead with 4 laps left to go in this first race of the night, but I think it's quite clear at this point from what I'm watching right now that John Boy is trying to force Mike into some kind of error. He's not too bothered about keeping him behind him. That's not really the aim of the game. He needs to try and make a mistake and drop it and lose places. That is essentially what I think I'm watching right now, which is technically not against the rules in any way. Obviously, as long as he doesn't do any dirty moves, he can technically try and force Mike into a mistake by putting him off in some way or another. It's if he were to actually make contact with him deliberately or push him off the track, then that's when it would be a problem. But obviously what he's doing right now is technically gamesmanship, and there's nothing against the rules about it. As we're coming out onto the hanger straight once again, John Boy and Mike side by side here, separated by nothing basically, as John Boy will once again have the inside into Stowe corner. Once again there's contact there between them, and it's getting a little bit naughty. It's getting a bit frisky right now between John Boy and Mike. Into Stowe corner we go. Mike once again tries to hang it out. around the outside, he's gone wide, he's gone onto the grass there, and Ozzy Albion might be able to seize on this. Oh, and there's contact between Mike and Ozzy Albion. Oh no, Mike's round. Oh, what's happened there to Mike? He's off onto the grass, and he's going to have to cut the inside of club corner here. What is going on? Mike there down to third place. John Boy and Ozzy continue on their merry way. With 3 laps left to go, is Mike going to have enough time to reel these guys in before the end of the race? That to me looked like a little bit naughty there between John Boy and Mike. A little bit suspect there between those guys. John Boy still leads as they come through the chicane here. 3 laps left to go at Silverstone Classic tonight. It's John Boy from Ozzy from Mike. Team MW there in 4th place. Seems well away from this battle. I don't think that he's going to be any risk to Mike here at the end of this race. But Ozzy now running in 2nd place, taking points off of our championship leader as things stand here tonight. And this could be absolutely crucial here for John Boy in his pursuit to try and gain some points back in this championship. As into Beckett's we come once again here. But what a night it has been so far, and it continues. The drama, the chaos continues here tonight. As through Stoke Corner we come on lap 12 of the race. It's John Boy with Ozzy on the back of him still. Mike there goes a bit wide there, coming out of Stoke Corner. Is he going to be a little bit unsettled maybe? Potentially shaken up by what's gone on that previous lap there. John Boy and Ozzy, the 2 teammates, 1 and 2 here in this race. Ozzy proving to be the thorn in the side here for Mike. Can he park his car in the way and stop John Boy from taking more points off of him here as we're coming down towards the chicane once again? John Boy trying to weave around, trying to break the toe a little bit. Ozzy defends the inside. Mike's going to go around the long way here into the chicane, and Ozzy will cover that one off. Goes a little bit deep into the corner, but gets it turned nonetheless. Oh, Ozzy, a bit of a slide though. Oh, Mike gets an even bigger slide, and Mike's into the wall. Oh, he's got big damage there on the left hand side of the car. Mike there getting it horribly wrong, coming through the final corner, and that's dropped him off at the back of the other 2 even more now. And he's got Team MW reining him in. Has he got damage on the car? If Mike's got a bit of damage on the car, that could give Team MW the chance to reel him in here at the end of this first race of the night. John Boy still out in front, leading this race on the penultimate lap of the 2nd race of the night. And John Boy could maybe be sensing a reinvigorated opportunity to take his 4th touring car championship here tonight, here at Motive. Mike gunning for his 3rd championship here, but currently struggling here in this first race of the night as we're coming down the hanger straight once again. It's John Boy from Ozzy with Mike running in 3rd place. Couple of seconds is his gap right now over Team MW, but if he's got damage on the car, that could really hurt him here. So we've got a lap and a half left to go in this first race of the night. It looks like John Boy and Ozzy are pretty safe in 1 and 2. Those guys are going to bring it home. And obviously for Ozzy John Racing, it's going to be absolutely brilliant there for those guys. Exactly what they needed to kick their night off here. In the meantime, we got RJ, Dale, Charlie and Captain, these 3 battling out as Captain all over the back of Charlie here, coming down towards chicane. There we go, you see Charlie defending the inside line. Captain after this race will be out of the championship battle. He was already basically out of it anyway, but now he is officially mathematically out of a shot of winning this championship. Let's do the final corner. We go over to start the final lap of the race. In the meantime, John Boy and Ozzy coming through Beckett's. Their gap to Mike is reasonably comfortable here. Mike is pulling away from Team MW now, so looks to be reasonably okay there in that 3rd spot. I think the order's going to be pretty much as it is right now. I don't think there's going to be any changes here from the top 4. RJ Dale still keeping Charlie and Captain at bay here as they come through into Beckett's on the final lap of the race here. What a night it has been here so far. Absolutely dramatic scenes here. John Boy coming through club corner with Ozzy and Mike in tow. Team MW there running in 4th place. The top 4 miles ahead of everybody else here. The Mutts Nuts is best of the rest. Oh, he goes wide though, coming out of Stowe. Is that going to give Revolt Detail a run? Doesn't look like it. Revolt Detail is too far back coming into club. RJ Dale still ahead of Charlie. Captain still all over the back of Charlie here as they're coming down towards Club, but he's way too far back to make a move here. John Boy and Ozzy coming into the final chicane with Mike just behind them. It's going to be John Boy who will take the first win of the night here, and he'll close the gap in the championship to Mike. What's the gap going to be? Who got the fastest lap? That's what we're going to find out in a few moments' time. But John Boy, Ozzy and Mike are getting the podium places. Team MW over in 4th place. A solid drive here from him. Revolt Detail has done the Mutts Nuts into the final chicane, but he goes deep. Oh, he gets it wrong. And the Mutts Nuts is going to get a run. No, no, no. Oh my gosh. Look at that. They've crashed into each other at the end. Mutts Nuts comes over in P5 ahead of Revolt Detailer in 6th. Charlie holds on for 6th there to Captain Hardick Charlie holds on for 7th there to Captain 8th with RJ in 9th. Nick the Villa is coming into the final chicane and he will bring it home in P10 just ahead of Doris Steer as these guys come through the final part of the lap here. So P10 for Nick, P11 for Doris Steer, and Craig is just coming up on the final chicane now. He will be round in a moment. It's been a nightmare of a first race of the night here for Craig. P12 well off of everybody else with big damage on the car affecting his ability to really challenge in this race, but nonetheless he'll get some points on the board here, and points mean prizes as always, so it will pay some dividends here for him as over the line he comes to finish the race. So that is that then, guys. John Boy, Ozzy and Mike taking the podium places. I'm going to fill in the championship standings right here right now, so we know what the score is, we know exactly what the situation is going into the final 2 races of this season. So John Boy P1, Ozzy P2. Actually, I'll fill it in a sec, guys. Yeah, hold up, hold fire, we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive channel. We're here for the qualifying session for the second race of the night here for the final round of the season, the championship decided here for season 14 for the BTCC. Situation after the first race, which John Boy took the victory in, means that the championship is currently going in Mike's favour still. Mike, after drop rounds, sits at the top on 536 points, with John Boy second on 510, so 26 points separating the two of them. John Boy did get the fastest lap in the first race, so he gained those extra couple of points, but there was only a 6-point swing between them, as there's 2 positions plus the fastest lap for John Boy. So really, he hasn't made significant inroads on Mike, but with 2 races left still in this season, anything can happen. But obviously with a qualifying session, both of them should be at the sharp end here for this one. With Cobb, unfortunately DNFing from the first race of the night, he is now officially, mathematically, he's out of title contention. Not just realistically, he is now mathematically out of it as well. So it is impossible for Cobb to win this championship. Even if he were to win the next 2 races and the other 2 were to retire, he would still not be able to win this championship. Same with Captain Harlock as well. Captain Harlock is now out of the championship. He's well over 60 points behind. He's about 80 points now off of the championship lead, with the drop rounds coming into effect. So he is now nowhere to be seen in that fight. So it's really now between John Boy and Mike for this championship. Mike, the hot favourite still, with a big lead of 26 points. It looks like he's got one hand really on the trophy, but I'd say he certainly hasn't got the other hand touching it yet. But yeah, he's definitely the hot favourite at this point. We're coming towards the end of the qualifying session here. John Boy, as that was a hiccup. John Boy on provisional pole here by just under 0.2 of a second ahead of Cobb. We're still waiting on Mike to do his lap time here. Cobb is just coming to the final for a couple of corners here. Can he go a lap quicker? No, he can't. So it looks like that's going to be P2 there for Cobb, as Mike's just coming through into the final sector here, as he goes a little bit wide there onto the grass ever so slightly, down towards the final chicane we come. Now what's Mike able to put on the board here? You can see he's got somebody just up in front of him, a couple of corners ahead, but here he comes now. Mike through the final chicane and into Woodcut we go. What is it going to be for Mike? P3 for Mike, so gets himself on the second row, but there's still a few drivers who have got some laps left to go. So Captain Harlock, Mike's teammate, coming into the chicane. Mutts Nuts is still out there, as well as John Boy himself. RJ Dale could still go quicker, as well as Charlie Goff. Craig as well is still out there. Captain Harlock pushes his teammate down a position, so Captain Harlock gets himself into P3. Team MW's bailed, so he's not going to go quicker. The Mutts Nuts there is done. Oh, it's RJ Dale into the wall there, and that looks like that's that done for the session then. So that is it. It's John Boy, Cobb, Captain Harlock and Mike, your top 4, with Team MW and the Mutts Nuts on row 3 ahead of RJ Dale and Charlie. Aussie Albie and Craig completing the top 10, with Doris Steer, Nick and Revolt Detailer at the back for the second race of the night here. And obviously for the second race of the night, there's no formation lap. We're literally just jumping straight into the action here. Standing start. The only standing start that we have here on Project Cars 2 is the second race of the night. Race 1 and race 3 are both reverse grids, based on the first race is based on the championship standings, and the final race is based on the results from this race. So this one, the only one where it's pure merit, the starting grid. And obviously it's a bit of a mixed up starting grid here at Silverstone Classic. It's a bit of a confusing one. It's an old fashioned starting grid, so basically you got almost 4x4, although not quite, because obviously the gaps between the grid slots are not very big, so it's like a formation grid essentially. It's really a peculiar way of doing things, but it's how they did things back in the days when they used to race at Silverstone on the classic circuit. Obviously this doesn't exist anymore in real life. This is purely a recreation of something that used to exist on this game, but this track, this what you're seeing right now in front of you, this does not exist in real life anymore. Other than the other tracks that we raced on this season, they still exist in real life. They're used to this day, but this particular configuration you will not see anywhere in the world, because it is no longer a thing. These grandstands, this pit lane, the buildings that you see on the periphery of the track, they no longer, or a lot of them are no longer there. But here we go then, guys. We are moments away from the start of the second race of the night here. We're syncing up, getting ready to go. The lights are coming on now. We are moments away from the start. And it's lights out and away we go, and it looks like a good start there from Cobb as he gets the jump there on John Boy. John Boy didn't get a good one at all. Mike got a decent one on the inside there, and it's now ahead of John Boy, coming down towards Cobb's corner for the first time. The Muttnuts also got a good start. It's now ahead of John Boy, coming in towards turn one, but it's Cobb from Mike. John Boy there, getting back around the outside of Mutts, and he's going to look to the outside of Mike as well here. John Boy's got a good run there on the exit of Cobb's corner, down towards Magus and Beck as we go, and he's got back ahead of Mike up into second place there. So it's Cobb from John Boy, from Mike there in third place. Then you've got Aussie ahead of the Muttnuts, who's managed to get ahead of him. You've got Captain ahead of RJ, followed by Team MW, with Charlie ahead of Craig, followed by Doris Deer, Revolt Detailer and Nick the Villa running at the back there in 13th place. Somebody's tagged the ball up there on the inside of Beckett's, not sure who it was, but it seems like we're all through cleanly. 3 seconds currently covering the entire pack right now, and it's Cobb ahead of John Boy. John Boy managed to get back ahead of Mike there, crucially around the outside of Cobb's corner, as Mike's got Aussie all over the back of him right now as they come down towards Stowe here. But Cobb here taking the lead here in the early stage of this second race of the night. And I realised that I was actually wrong to say that Cobb is out of championship contention here. He's not officially out of championship contention, but he would need to win, and for Mike to crash out of this second race of the night in order for him to keep himself in contention going into the final race of the night. It's almost impossible for Cobb to win this championship, but he'd love to go out on a high this season, I'm sure, and take a couple of wins. There's John Boy there, very wide as he came out through Priory. Down towards the chicane we go. John Boy on the inside there over here of Cobb. Is he going to make this move? I think he is. John Boy down the inside. Cobb trying to hold it around the outside. John Boy a bit of a slide. Cobb keeping the momentum there as they're coming through into Woodcote. In the background you can see Aussie Albie's keeping ahead of the Muttnuts. Oh, the Muttnuts lost it. They're coming on the exit of the final corner. Muttnuts there getting sideways, and it's dropping down the order here. He's dropped down to P10. So Muttnuts with a bit of a mistake there, and that's cost him a huge amount of places here. What a shame there for the Muttnuts. It's Cobb, John Boy and Mike still 1, 2, 3 at the moment, as we can see there. RJ Dale trying to attack on the back of Aussie Albie, coming down towards Magus and Beckett's here for the second time in this race. But we've got side by side here as Craig's looking to the inside of Team MW in towards Beckett's. Can he get this one done? I think he's going to get that one done there. Team MW trying to hold it around the outside. Craig there down the inside. Team MW a little bit wide there, goes very wide actually, and Craig there gets moved done up into 8th place. Arjadale trying to attack on the back of Aussie Albie and Captain Harlock at this point. Mike here's got ahead of Cobb here, coming down towards Stowe. So down the hanger straight we go. Mike is now up into second place. Cobb though trying to fight it here as he's looking to try and come back at him into the corner, but nothing doing at the moment. Arjadale on the inside here of Captain Harlock. These two are side by side right now as Captain goes a little bit wide there onto the grass, and Arjadale moves himself back through up into 5th place there in the foreground. I'm seeing a battle going on between John Boy and Mike with Cobb right there as well. But lots going on at the moment. You can see Craig here on the inside of Charlie as his teammate is Charlie there, very wide onto the grass. That will allow the Muttnuts and Team MW to get the run on him, and they'll both move through up a position each here. But Charlie's not done with Team MW. Bit of a slide there from Charlie, and he gets onto the grass, and that's going to lose him a bit of time here. And those guys are now going to just sail away from him here. In the meantime, I'm noticing on the timing screen that Nick the Villa has come into the pits for a very early pit stop here. Nick the Villa's luck just does not seem to want to present itself in any way. As I said before, if he didn't have bad luck, he would have no luck at all. Muttnuts here moving himself through up into 7th place ahead of RJ Dale into turn 1. Good move there from the Muttnuts. But Nick the Villa, I mean, what does he have to do? What does he have to do to get a bit of luck? It just seems like everything that could go wrong for him seems to go wrong, and it's really gutting there. Doris Deer also into the pits here now in the early stages at the end of lap 3 for what I would assume is going to be damage repairs, because there's no mandatory pit stops here in the BTCC. But in the meantime, we've got John Boy and Mike here, currently 1 and 2 here. These guys are coming up on the lap car, or the soon to be lap car of Nick the Villa if he doesn't pick up the pace. So obviously that they might end up battling him because he's got paces, Nick the Villa, we all know that. But Mike looking to the outside here into Stowe corner. John Boy trying to squeeze into the edge of the track. Mike there a bit wide onto the grass, but he's managed to keep the momentum there. Great move there from Mike. John Boy looking back to the inside, coming down towards Club corner. Who's going to come through first? John Boy on the inside, slides it. Oh, massive slide from John Boy, and that's going to just scrub him a few tenths of a second there. And Mike getting himself through back up into P1 once again as we come through into the final section of the track. John Boy's now got Cobb all over the back of him as well as they come through into the final section here. So it's Mike now leading ahead of John Boy with Cobb right there. These guys are about to put a lap on Nick the Villa, who we can see coming through the chicane right now. So there is Nick, and there are the 3 leaders coming through just behind him, as Captain's got the Muttnuts looking down his inside into the chicane, and the Muttnuts gets that one done up into 4th place. Good move there from the Muttnuts. As we've got Craig here now looking down the inside of Captain in towards Cobb's corner. He's going to make that move as well. So Craig there up into P5.
Andy,
So it's Mike currently leading, John Boy within a second of him right now as they're coming through Beckett's, with Cobb keeping himself on the back of these guys right now, but Mike's looking to try and up the tempo here by the looks of it, looking to just try and pull away from these guys.
Jono's coming second. Cobb.
But currently it's the three of them for the lead. They're gapping everybody else here. Mutt's there running in fourth place. You've got Craig ahead of Captain. You've got Aussie here looking down the inside of Captain Harlock into Stowe corner. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, he's not. In fact, Captain's looking down the inside of Craig here into Stowe. Can he complete that move? Looks like Craig keeping it around the outside, keeping the momentum there. In the background there, a roll detailer very wide out of Stowe. And he's going to just keep ahead. No, Charlie's going to get him into club corner. So Charlie there up into P10.
Have you been warm enough in your bed the last few nights?
Yeah, I've been absolutely fine, yeah. Team MW here making the move here on Captain coming through Priory. So Team MW now up into 7th place. RJ Dell on the back of these guys as they come down towards the chicane once again here.
Chicane. Can you pull that forward?
And please stop lurking around. Just keep quiet and watch the race. Or
I've got to get through here.
Look, you do not have to get through there. Sorry about that. You don't need to. It's not important. It's for one empty can of pot noodle. You're literally trying to squeeze through and interrupt me just so you can get your hands on one pot noodle, which I could get you. There you go. Look. Now move back. Stop interrupting me.
Yeah, well, I wish you wouldn't leave them in the bedroom.
Alright, can you get out? Alright, you upset me now.
Good.
So Mike here still leading the race ahead of Cobb and John Boy right now as they're coming down the hanger straight. You can see that Mike has now just extended the gap over Cobb a little bit here. Cobb has got heavy pressure from John Boy, but he's managed to get ahead of John Boy obviously. So those two have swapped places here. BMW has got Aussie looking around the outside behind him ahead on RJ Dale, and Aussie's got ahead of RJ Dale up into P8 as they now come down towards club corner again.
I've got to shut this window because it's freezing.
Oh, it's already closed.
I can't reach it, Andy. Can you?
No, I'm busy. Can you get out? I don't mind you being in here, but when you're causing carnage, you just need to leave. Aussie there goes deep into the chicane. As we see RJ there has got out Charlie and a roll detail all over the back of him here coming over the start-finish line. But no moves, they're all kind of tucking in behind each other for the time being as Aussie defends the inside into turn one. RJ looking to the outside. Mike's still leading the race though right now ahead of Cobb as they're coming through Beckett's. Just get out. There's RJ there very wide going through Beckett's, and that's going to give Aussie the run as they're coming through Chapel out onto the hanger straight. So Aussie there back up into 8th place. Revolt Detailer there moving through ahead of Charlie up into P10. Charlie here on the inside trying to get ahead of RJ Dale here into Stoke corner. They're going to possibly 3 wide here as Revolt Detailer around the outside there. Goes a bit wide there coming out of Stowe, but actually keeps it on the track. RJ and Charlie continuing as they were. Nick the lap car right behind these guys. In the meantime, John Boy's made the move on Cobb and Mike. So John Boy round the outside into the final chicane. John Boy now the race leader here. So where has he made that move? Not sure where, but John Boy now hits the front. Oh no! John Boy's lost it! What happened there? Oh my goodness! What happened? He just seemed like he barrel rolled coming out the last corner. What on earth happened to John Boy? His championship's got to be over now. Surely. Oh my god. That was absolutely unbelievable. I've just got to watch the replay there because that came out of nowhere. John Boy binned it by himself coming through Woodcote.
Was it my fault?
No. Look at that. Look on the screen. Look on the small screen. Look. Oh my god. I cannot believe what I've just seen. John Boy lost it by himself. Completely out of the blue. No contact, no pressure. He just lost it through Woodcote. Got onto the curb, I think put it in the wall and was barrel rolling coming through the final corner. And he's down in 7th place, as in the meantime Cobb and Mike now battling out over the lead. And I tell you what, Mike could wrap up the championship before we even get to the final race here. His gap over John Boy, 26 points.
Is he crying?
I don't know. Although tonight could be John Boy's drop round as well. It could potentially be John Boy's drop round. So that could help him in terms of the points differential. But I think that Mike's going to have this championship wrapped up here. Captain's left the session, so he's rage quit. Captain is out. Mike and Cobb are coming to the final chicane here, starting lap 8. John Boy down in 6th place, but with damage on the car, I think he's only going to go backwards here from this point onwards in this second race of the night. And John Boy, the 3-time champion of the touring cars, last season's champion, is not going to be getting a second in a row here, as Craig there has gone off on the final corner. He's into the wall there, so Craig there is going to have damage. He's retired, he's rage quit as well, so Captain and Craig are both rage quitting in the space of 1 lap. Mike and Cobb are still out the front. These two coming through Beckett's and Chapel here on lap 8 of this second race of the night. Can Cobb take the fight to Mike and get himself a race win in the final round of the season? But nonetheless, what a development here. John Boy was leading the race and was looking on course to close the gap a bit more to Mike. Could have maybe closed it to less than 20 points and kept himself in with a slim hope of winning the championship in a final race, but it's not happened for him, as he's now down in 7th place with huge damage. He's lost out to Revolt Detailer and RJ Dale, and he's going backwards here as well. Oh, is in the foreground. That's Revolt Detailer going wide, coming out of Stowe. Gets it back on the track though. But now the Mutts Nuts is sizing up John Boy into club corner we go, and he's going to make the move there as the Mutts Nuts up into 7th place. John Boy a little bit wide there coming out of the corner. He's got no straight line speed. That car is battered. It's got absolutely no... It's suffering from a huge amount of drag, and it's getting absolutely no speed down the straights whatsoever. Now the Mutts Nuts looking to the outside of Revolt Detailer coming into the final chicane. Revolt Detailer goes a little bit deep there. Can the Mutts Nuts get a run here out onto the start finish straight? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to just here then. Charlie now ahead of John Boy. John Boy's made another mistake. Oh, he's into the pits. So he's lost his rear wing. He's got no bonnet either. And John Boy here into the pits, and his championship is done. And that is absolutely gutting there for John Boy, our 3-time champion. Obviously our reigning champion as well. But he is out of this race, or he's out of the running. He's going to carry on, and he'll be able to complete the race distance and score points. But he's not going to be able to finish in a position that will keep this championship going for one more race. So Mike will be wrapping up the title before we even turn a wheel for the final race here tonight. And that's currently the news at the moment. But is he going to wrap it up with a race victory, or is Cobb going to be able to deny him here in this second race of tonight? Nonetheless, RJ Dale is running in P5 with the trainer cars, Revolt Detail of the Mutts Nuts, and Charlie a few seconds off of the back of these guys there, running in 8th place. But you've got to feel for John Boy there, because he was doing everything right. He was leading the race, looked on course to maybe take his second win from 2 races here so far tonight. But it's not gone the way that he would have wanted it to.
Where is he now?
He's retired.
Oh, he's given up.
Yeah. RJ Dale still running ahead of a roll detailer here into turn 1 with the Mutts Nuts, and Charlie a few seconds behind these guys. Mike here coming out of Chapel has got Cobb all over the back of him as they're coming down the hanger straight here. This is obviously the battle for the lead here with Mike,
The Clegg.
our champion-elect here for this season, and it'll be his 3rd touring car championship. He will tie John Boy for 3 championships, which will make the dynamic more interesting if Mike does end up racing next season. But I've heard rumours apparently Mike might be having to sit out next season, as he has got exams coming up very soon. Revolt Detail here looking to the outside of RJ Dale into Stowe corner. RJ defending the inside. Revolt Detail trying to go all the way around the outside here Yeah, gets the grip on the outside, goes a little bit onto the grass there, down towards Chapel. Sorry, not Chapel, Club. Sorry, we go. But you can see the Mustnuts dipping his nose down in the middle. Oh, and there's contact there between the Mustnuts and RJ Dale. RJ Dale there onto the grass on the inside. Mustnuts goes deep into the corner. That's going to give Revolt Detailer the run here. And a Revolt Detailer there moving across on RJ Dale. And that's a bit dirty there from Revolt Detailer. RJ Dale there goes off, and that gives Mustnuts and Nick Lavilla also unlapping himself there on RJ Dale. A bit naughty there from Revolt Detailer. Definitely rammed into the side of RJ Dale. Back to the two leaders, Mike and Cobb coming into Beckett's here. Once again, Cobb still keeping the pressure on Mike at the moment as they're coming through Chapel and out onto the hanger straight once again. Mike, as we said, has the championship wrapped up pretty much, unless he disconnects in the final couple of laps here. Cobb here looking to the inside into Stowe, but nothing doing at the moment. Mustnuts getting closer to the back of the Revolt Detailer.
Wheel flapping.
It's a different driver. It's a different driver. Oh, the Mustnuts here getting closer to the back of the Revolt Detailer, coming into Stowe corner, but he's too far back here. He's going to have to tuck in for the time being.
Did you see?
Charlie is not closing in on these guys really at the moment, to be fair. Nick Lavilla though is trying to unlap himself. Oh, is Nick there wide coming out of Stowe, and that's going to lost him time here in his efforts to try and unlap himself here. But he's still ahead of RJ Dale, but he's behind Revolt Detailer and the Mustnuts at the moment. Obviously he won't want to impede the Mustnuts too much, because the Mustnuts is his teammate. These two are ironically driving for No Muts Racing, because it was Mustnuts who pulled out of the championship in the early part of the season and was replaced by Divertic Lamb, and then retook his place in the No Muts Racing squad. And obviously the team named after the fact that he wasn't there, but he is now back in the seat.
How can you do that when he's retired?
No, that's not John Boy, no, it's someone else. That's the Mustnuts.
It's all coming off.
Yeah, I know. But it's still, you can still drive it, it's just that it's not as quick. As Mike here, still ahead of Cobb coming into Stowe corner. Cobb all over the back of him right now. 0.3 of a second apart as they come through on the exit of Stowe corner. As Cobb there's got a better run than Mike. Mike was a little bit wide. Now Mike's going to have to defend here, coming down towards Club corner. He defends the inside line. Cobb's going to have to go around the long way, but he can't do it. Has to wait a little bit longer here. Mike goes wide though, coming out of Club, which might give Cobb a bit of a run down towards the chicane, but this chicane, Cobb was saying earlier on before the race, it's the bane of his life, this chicane. He absolutely hates it. Is he going to find a bit of confidence here to make the move on Mike, or is he just going to have to tuck in and wait for another opportunity here on the final lap of this race? Here we come. It's Mike still leading Cobb as they come through to start the final lap of the race. Just under 0.4 of a second separating these two as they come into Cobb's corner for the final time here in race 2. It's Mike from Cobb, and these guys about 16 seconds clear of Team MW. He's had a decent night tonight, to be fair. He's given a good account of himself.
Splits.
You got Aussie there running in 4th. He's a few seconds clear of the Mustnuts and Revolt Detailer. He's got RJ Dale and Charlie a couple of seconds off of them. You've got Nick Lavilla there in the middle of the battle between Mustnuts, Revolt and RJ Dale. Obviously a lap down on these guys though, but here come Mike and Cobb coming out of Chapel Curve out to the hanger straight here for the final time here in race 2. What's Cobb got here to throw at Mike? Has he got anything left in the tank? I don't know whether he's going to be able to challenge Mike in the final part of this race. Here we come through Stowe corner for the final time. Cobb getting a bit closer here, but Mike getting a decent enough run. Club with the last chance for Cobb to really gain some time here on Mike. After that, I think that Mike should be able to park himself in the right places. Cobb, we know, hasn't got much confidence through the chicane, so I think Mike should be alright here. As into the final section of the lap we come here for race 2 here for the final round of the season tonight, our Motive. Obviously we've got one more race after this, and Mike here is going to take the race win here at Silverstone Classic for race 2, and it's also going to be the championship as well. The man who took season 11 and 12, took last season out, raced as a reserve, but this season he's back on top, and it's Mike here who takes his 3rd touring car championship here at Motive Racing. Ties John Boy with 3 apiece. Fantastic season from Mike. and he does it with a race to spare here with Cobb over in second place. Congratulations, Mike. He takes the double for the third time here at Motive. He took the double, the Clio Cup Touring Car double in season 11 and 12. He's done it again in season 14. What a season it has been. Team MW takes the final spot on the podium with Aussie Albi over in fourth place. A couple of seconds back to Revolt Dieter and the Mutsnuts, who are going to fight it out to the flag, but Revolt Dieter holds on for P5 ahead of the Mutsnuts in sixth. Charlie Goff comes over to take seventh place here in the end, ahead of RJ Dale, who finishes in eighth. Doris Steer a lap down, so is Nick Lavilla. And that is that then, guys, for the second race of the night. But the news here tonight is that Mike has wrapped up the title with a race to spare, getting the fastest lap of the race. His gap to John Boy unassailable now, with John Boy rage quitting from the middle race of the night. So the gap between those two now, 60 points in the championship with 32 left on the table. So that is it. It's done. Whether Cobb can nab John Boy for second place is actually one that I'm going to be interested to know now at this point, because he could very well be in contention for that spot. So guys, I'm going to do the maths. I'm going to work this out in the practice before the final race. And also join us in about 5-10 minutes, because I will be announcing the driver of the season and the most improved driver as well. And that's the driver's driver of the season and the driver's most improved driver, because the drivers themselves voted for who they thought was the driver of the season and most improved drivers. So we'll be obviously announcing that in the on the formation lap before the final race of the season. But guys, stick around, we'll be back very shortly. Don't go anywhere. Alright guys, grid order, it's going to be this. So it'll be, wait, who retired? John Boy. John Boy obviously retired. Craig. Right then. So it'll be Craig P1, John Boy P2, Nick P3, Doris P4, Charlie P5, RJ P6, Mutz P7, Leo P8, Aussie P9, Team P10, Cop P11, and White P12. John Boy, mate, I couldn't believe what my eyes through the final corner. I couldn't believe my eyes. You finished? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Mate, I could not believe it. Honestly, I was like, where the bloody hell has he gone? He just suddenly flipping through the air. Oh man, that sucks. That's the moment. I might. Oh fuck! I should have saved the replay and tried to get and try and do a photo of it. That would have been sick. Oh. Right, okay, I'll announce it to you guys first. So driver of the season, John Boy. Yeah. And most improved Doris Deer. It could be quite close actually between Cobb and John Boy now in the standings now. Oi, you two are tied. Literally, you two are fucking tied on points. 510 points each after drop rounds. Thing is, though, yeah, no. The thing is, right, this round could literally be John Boy's drop round. So it could all change. In fact, actually, no. It's almost guaranteed to be. Actually, you know what? I don't think you can beat him, Cobb. I'll tell you why. Because if he... Yeah... Yeah, I can't work. Yeah, it's hard to work out. No, it's a complete fuckery. It really is. So basically, what it is, every round is 3 races, and you drop. The worst result that you get over 3 races gets excluded from your points, but it's the same for everyone. And if you miss a round, you don't drop any points. Yeah. We're not doing drop rounds for the teams, so Captain Mike have already won it. Mate, they won it before tonight, I think. Second is Aussie John Racing. Third is quite close, actually. You know what? CC Racing and Corn on the Cob separated by 34 points for third. It's close, yeah. It's all on the table. Yeah, so that's you and Cobb and Craig and Charlie. Third. Here we are then, guys, for the final time this season for the BTCC. We are about to go racing for the final race of the night here at Silverstone Classic. We're in the dark for the final race of the season. Obviously the final round set in October, but we have the first round of the season set in March, and second one in April, and so on and so forth, all the way to October for the 8th round of the season. So it's a bit more atmospheric. It's like a real sort of touring car sort of season in a sense, albeit the race is probably slightly more spaced out because of the fact that we do less of them. But yeah, here we are then. After 23 races this season, we come into race 24 of the season. Obviously 8 rounds, 3 races per week. And the situation is that Mike has wrapped up the championship, as we said before, at the end of the second race. So I want to say a massive congratulations to Mike on taking his 3rd touring car championship here at Motive. And what a season he's had. He's been absolutely stellar over the course of the 23 races so far, and he's now 60 points ahead of John Boy in the championship. So John Boy cannot catch him no matter what he does in this final race. But the battle for second in the championship is very much still on, because John Boy and Cobb both running actually tied on points at the moment, albeit John Boy could maybe be on course to score his drop round tonight if he continues to have the misfortunes that he's had over the course of this evening. Obviously scored no points in the middle race of the night. And in fact, actually I think John Boy is guaranteed to score his drop round, because he scored 34 points. Oh no, it might not necessarily be his drop round. If he wins the race, it'll be tied with his drop round. Yeah, if he wins the race, it'll be level with his drop round, and if he wins the race and gets the fastest lap, it won't be his drop round. So I guess it could potentially not be his drop round, but it's looking likely that it might be. If he doesn't win, it will be his drop round tonight, which will mean he'll gain a couple of points in that one, essentially, in a way, but not really. It's kind of confusing. The drop rounds really do confuse me, I must admit. I'm not really, my brain's not cut out for this at all. But yeah, basically need a pen and paper and the standings to work it out. But yeah, pretty much the situation is that John Boy and Cobb are going to battle it out over second in the championship here tonight. Mike's already done it, he's already sealed the deal, so huge congratulations to this man here. But obviously John Boy will be able to start from second place for this final race of the season, and Cobb down in P11. That gives him the upper hand in this battle for the runner-up spot here for this season. As what has happened to Mike here, he is absolutely miles behind everybody else and seems to have dropped it, or was he doing some donuts maybe on this formation lap? I'm not sure, but yeah, not quite sure. But anyway, I want to just come to the end of season awards here for our Project Cars 2 leagues. I want to say a big congratulations to our driver of the season, John Boy. Obviously consistency this season, is still the overall points leader for the touring cars, albeit drop rounds means that Mike's actually too far ahead to lose the championship. But Mike only lost 12 points from his drop rounds because he had an absolute shocker overnight at Alton Park Fosters. But in terms of the overall points, the irony is John Boy actually still has slightly more points than him, but he has about 2 more points than Mike. But ultimately it's the drop rounds that we're running this season. Everybody knew the score at the start of the season, and that's what we're running with. But here we come over the line nonetheless. We're about to start the races. Here we go.
Second.
Yeah, it's another race, it's a new race. But here we come into turn 1 here for the first time. They're all line astern, and everybody's very cleanly through the first few corners. We can see in the background there Cobb looking to try and defend here from Mike. Mike's all over the back of Cobb for 11th place, as he has to tuck in for the time being. Can't get enough of a run. Down towards Magnus and Beck as we go. John Boy's all over the back of Craig here in this battle for the lead. John Boy will be looking to try and get on him early here and try and get the lead and pull a gap here to the others and try and disappear off into the sunset before Cobb and Mike appear on the scene. As through Chapel we go and out onto the hanger straight for the first time. It's Craig from John Boy with Nick Livilla there running in 3rd place. You can see in the background you've got Doris Steer just ahead of Charlie Goff, as these two are side by side. Charlie's gone ahead of Doris Steer down the hanger straight. Now RJ Dale is going to look to try and get the move done here as well on these guys, as he's in the slipstream of Charlie Goff. As here we come into Stowe corner we go. Revolt Detail looking down the inside as well of these guys, as he's got ahead of RJ Dale, but RJ Dale's still keeping himself around the outside. Gets the run here coming down towards Club Corner. Charlie Goff there on the outside of Doris Steer. These two are side by side. Doris Steer is trying to get this move done at the inside in the foreground. The Mustnuts just ahead of these guys. Charlie Goff there getting it a little bit wrong. but keeping ahead of them at the moment, and it's still the Mutt-Nuts, Charlie, Revolt, Dieter and Doris, with RJ Dale, who seems to have got a bit out of shape there, and Mike come under pressure here from Aussie Albi. In the background you've also got Mike there getting onto the grass a little bit as he's trying to attack on the back of Cobb. Down towards the final chicane we go. Aussie here looking to the inside of RJ Dale into the final chicane. He makes the move there and makes it stick brilliantly there. Aussie Albi up into 8th place. Nice move there from Aussie Albi, but back to the leaders. We can see Craig here still ahead of John Boy, so John Boy hasn't been able to make the move on Craig just yet, and we can see Nick there in 3rd place ahead of the Mutt-Nuts, followed by Charlie. There's Mutts ahead of Doris, followed by Aussie, as we got RJ Cobb, Mike and Team MW running at the back of the pack here. 12 cars still in this race, and it's Craig still leading at this point. 5 seconds currently separating the entire pack right now in this final race of the season, as John Boy there really wide out of Beckett's onto the grass a little bit, and has just lost him with the time here to Craig. Just doesn't seem to be able to really put Craig under any real pressure at the moment. Maybe Craig is going to be extra motivated knowing that he's got a good chance of taking a race win. I bet you that Nick was absolutely gutted to see John Boy retire from that second race, because it means that he couldn't start on pole, and he had a very, very strong contender starting in front of him. Obviously we know how much Nick DeVille likes to start at the front in final races tonight and nick a win, but John Boy here all over the back of Craig coming into club corner. He's too far back just at the moment though, as they all file through your shot right now. Oh, it's Mike there down the inside of Aussie into club corner. He gets the move done there as well. A brave move there from our newly crowned 3-time champion of the touring cars, as Aussie loses out to RJ Dale as well. So RJ Dale moving himself through up into 9th place there. Good move there from RJ Dale. Down towards the chicane we go. You can see there Aussie attacking to the inside now on RJ Dale, but he's just a little bit too far back as they come into the chicane. Craig still leading ahead of John Boy. There's Nick ahead of the Mutt-Nuts. We've got side by side. They come into turn 1 as well. He was looking to the inside there of Charlie, but couldn't make anything happen just there then. Charlie. But final race of the season here. Aussie all over the back of RJ Dale. He's got Cobb now looking to his inside. Cobb's going to make the move here on Aussie in towards Beckett's we go. That's job done there for Cobb. Gets himself up into P10 as we come out onto Chapel. Oh, in the foreground there. That's Charlie there getting it very wrong onto the grass there on the exit of Chapel curve. Horrible run there from Charlie Goff. In the background we've got almost 3 wide here, as Aussie's on the outside there of Cobb. RJ Dale on the outside of Team MW. Aussie comes through the corner first out of those 4 guys. In fact, no, Cobb gets ahead of him actually on the exit of Stowe corner, so Cobb now up into P8, or P9, sorry, should I say. Aussie's got RJ Dale looking to his inside here into Stowe, but RJ Dale's too far back to make that one happen just at the moment. Charlie there wide coming out of Stowe. So was Aussie though, and now RJ Dale with the run coming through Priory we go. Aussie though getting a slightly better run here, coming down towards the chicane. As they're side by side here, Aussie Albi and RJ Dale. Into the chicane we go. Aussie trying to keep it around the outside there, sliding around a little bit. RJ Dale very cautious there, as that was a hiccup. And RJ a bit wide there, coming out of Woodcote. And no changes there between these guys. Still only 6 seconds covering the entire 12 pack at the moment of drivers. We've got Craig, Nick, Mutt-Nuts and John Boy. These 4 for the lead. But John Boy's lost out to Nick and the Mutt-Nuts, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to John Boy here, because John Boy's gone from 2nd down to 4th place. So has he made a bit of a mistake, or is he just
2 minutes
suffering from a little bit of deflation here maybe? Obviously knowing that the championship's over, but Mike has made very quick progress nonetheless through the pack in this final race of the season. He's gone from pretty much the back, or it was the back, it was 12th place, up into 5th, so he's gained 7 places in the first 4 and a bit laps of this race. So it's been an incredible first few laps from Mike, clearly not easing off despite having already wrapped up the championship. Charlie's still on the back of Cobb, is in the foreground there. Revolt Dieter getting it horribly wrong on the exit of Stowe corner, but keeping it just about, keeping the momentum just about there. He's lost a bit of time here to Doris though, as in the meantime John Boy's sticking to the inside of the Mutt-Nuts coming through Priory and down towards the punch. Can we go? Oh, and John Boy there pushing the Mutt-Nuts wide. Oh, and John Boy. Oh, John Boy's lost it there. And for the 2nd time tonight, he makes a big mistake. But a perfect 360 spin means that he kept it out of the wall and has minimised the time loss here. But he's still dropped down to P10. He's only 5 seconds off of the lead. But John Boy making a big mistake, but managing to keep it out of the barriers, and has got no damage on his car. despite doing a perfect pirouette there. That was absolutely awesome, John Boy. I've got to say, that was one of the moments of the season for me, that was. As he now makes the move on Charlie Goff into turn 1 as well. So John Boy, they're back up into 9th place. Still with a chance of maybe getting on the podium in this race. He's not too far away off of the leaders. That might spur him on a bit, that little pirouette there, which is absolutely superbly executed. Quite impromptu, I might add, but it was a real sight to behold there, John Boy. That was a peach, absolute peach of a 360. As we see the top 4 here, Craig, Nick, the Mutsnuts and Mike coming down the hanger straight here on lap 6 of the race. Mike trying to put some pressure here on the Mutsnuts right now. There's Storris ahead of Cobb. As Cobb here looking down the inside into Stowe corner. Is he going to be able to make this move? Down the inside he goes. Cobb there goes a little bit onto the runoff on the inside. Doris there is going to lose out, I think, to Cobb here. So Cobb there up into P5. He's got that one done. It's Aussie down the inside here. A roll detailer into club corner we go. Aussie here trying to get the move done on Doris as well here. As in the background we see that's Team MW there, I think wide. No, it wasn't. It was Charlie actually who was wide. And Team MW picking up the place, but Aussie here around the outside. Doris getting a horrible run there through that section of the track. He's now lost out to Revolt Detailer and John Boy. John Boy all over the back of Revolt Detailer coming in towards the final chicane here. Massive slide there from Revolt Detailer. It keeps it on the track. No dramas there from Leo. As now we see Charlie eyeing up a move here on Team MW down towards turn 1. But Team MW's got enough of a run to stay ahead of him here. But Craig still leading the race. Oh, Mutsnuts getting it horribly wrong there. And he's going to be vulnerable now to Mike, who's now going to pick him off coming down towards Maggots. As here we go, Mike there moving himself through up into P2. So Mutsnuts there with a bit of a mistake coming out of the first corner, should I say. And that's cost him P2 here. Nick on the back of him as well. So Mutsnuts and Nick there still in contention for a podium place. Cobb from the back of the pack is now in 5th place. He's made good progress, but not as good as Mike, who's been absolutely fantastic in the first half of this final race of the night. Mutt's trying to defend here from Nick coming into Stowe. As he holds on for the time being, but Cobb there running in P5. Can he get himself on the podium? Can John Boy bring himself back into the podium fight? He's now ahead of Aussie and Revolt Detailer, but these two are trying to fight him here. Down towards Club we go. John Boy's got that move done there up into 6th place. John Boy flashing his lights like mad here. Aussie and Revolt Detail are doing exactly the same thing. Not quite sure what the game plan is with that one. And John Boy continuing to flash his lights, so I'm not quite sure what exactly is the Morse code between these guys. Nonetheless, it's Craig from Mike into turn 1 we go for the 8th time in the race. Mike looking to the outside, but nothing doing. As Revolt Detailer here down the inside of Aussie Albie into turn 1. Is that job done there for Revolt Detailer? I think it is. Yes, it is. So he gets himself back up into P7 there. There's Revolt Detailer. In the meantime, Mike here making a move on Craig into Beckett's we go. This is for the lead of the race. Our champion here, Mike Gaming, down the inside. He gets the move done there. And Craig's going to try and get the cut back though. He's going to get a run here coming out of Chapel Curve out onto the hanger straight once again. Craig is not done here in this battle for the lead. He's on the outside. He's going to get that better run out onto the hanger straight and should be able to out drag Mike here. So Craig is going to retake the lead down towards Stowe corner. They're side by side here. Craig on the inside is going to have the lead back off of him. And now the Mutsnuts looking down the inside of Mike as well here. So the Mutsnuts could be about to make the move here up into P2. Mike goes a little bit wide there coming out of Stowe onto the grass, but he's actually kept the momentum there really nicely and has got back ahead of Craig. So great move from Mike, but he's not fully can't length ahead yet. And Craig looking back down the inside into club corner, but now Mike gets the move done around the outside, gets it completed there. Mike up into P1 once again here. As the Mutsnuts still just ahead of Nick, with Cobb now bearing down on these guys. He's only 1.3 off for the lead at this point, so Cobb here done a great job of bringing the fight back to these guys. Mutsnuts looking down the inside of Craig into the chicane. Oh, and there's contact there between Craig and the Mutsnuts. But they get through unscathed. And they continue on their way. Nick here looking to the inside of the Mutsnuts into turn 1. He's too far away there. as through Beckett's we go, and it's still Mike from Clegg from the Mutts Nuts, Nick and Cobb there with John Boy, Aussie. There's Stories there. We've got Revolt Detail there down the inside of Team MW coming through the corner and gets himself into 9th place there. So he came back in there, I think, because it looked like Team MW had briefly got ahead of him. Revolt Detail must have made a mistake because he dropped a few places there. Team MW is now trying to come back in him here down the hanger straight, looking down the inside into Stowe corner. He's on the grass there. Team MW Revolt Detail trying to squeeze him to the edge of the track, trying to minimise his spacing. Team MW can't get the move done there, so Revolt Detail is squeezing there, paying off actually. As we come now down towards Club once again, and Revolt Detail there holding on ahead of Team MW. Mike though still leading the race by just over half a second right now over Craig. Cobb right there with Nick on the back of them. John Boy flashing his lights in the background there. Oh no, what's happened in the background? Oh, it's been a big crash there. Revolt Detail has gone into the bridge there, and Team MW as well. So those two have had an aircraft crash there coming down towards the final chicane. What on earth has happened there? I don't know what happened, but those two, their race is now pretty much over here in this final race of the season. RJ Dale seems to have had a bit of a nightmare as well. I don't know if he was involved in some way or another, but Revolt Detail with damage. Team MW, what do you mean?
Are you involved?
I'm commentating then, I'm not racing, am I? But Mike here leading the race ahead of Craig, Cobb, the Mutts Nuts, Nick and John Boy in hot pursuit right now. 3 seconds currently covering the top 6 as we're coming out to the hanger straight once again. But Craig here trying to keep Cobb at bay. The Mutts Nuts, Nick and John Boy is reasonably there as well. So John Boy's not too far away as down towards Stowe we go. But Cobb here trying to get himself into P2 here. Maybe can see the threat of Mike breaking away. Wants to get the move done as quickly as he possibly can here. For those of you who aren't in the loop, Mike has already wrapped up the championship before this final race of the season. But the battle for second in the championship is still on between Cobb and John Boy. Cobb here down the inside of Craig into Club Corner, gets himself up into 2nd place. Craig trying to come back at him here, coming down towards the chicane. And Craig has actually managed to get the better exit than Cobb coming out of Club. Down towards the chicane we go. It's going to be Craig there into P2 as now the Mutts Nuts is trying to attack on the back of Craig as well, of Cobb here, sorry, as well. Down towards the chicane we go. Now Mutts Nuts looking down the inside here of Cobb. As late on the brakes he goes. Oh, he almost goes into the back of Craig there. Goes a bit deep. Mutts Nuts there comes through the final corner. Still just ahead of Cobb here as they come over the line here to start lap 11. As Nick here now looking on the inside. Now switches to the outside here on Cobb. Cobb defends the inside line into Cobb's corner. And Nick can't get around him there, but John Boy down the inside of Nick, who goes a bit deep into turn 1. John Boy though a bit deep as well. Who's going to come out on top in this one? John Boy there seems to have been out-tracked by Nick coming down towards Maggots here. Mutts Nuts has got Cobb trying to come back at him here, coming down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Here we go. Cobb down the inside. John Boy also looking on the inside of Nick as well. Cobb down the inside, gets the move done on the Mutts Nuts. John Boy getting ahead of Nick as well. Cobb and John Boy, as we said before, in the battle for second in the championship. These two tied on points, so it could be a matter of whoever finishes ahead of the other. But I know that John Boy could be also doing his drop round here. In fact, if he's out of the, if he doesn't win the race, it will be his drop round. So that could play into his hands here, as he goes very deep there into Stowe corner as well. As things stand, John Boy scored 34 points so far tonight. Oh, close call there between himself and Cobb. Cobb moving himself back through into P4 there. But I'm pretty sure that this will be John Boy's drop round. I think that Cobb needs to outscore John Boy by about four points, because I think that John Boy's going to drop a few points with his drop round. His drop round will fall a little bit here. Cobb really needs to be in P2 at least, but he's currently, these guys are now falling off at the back of Craig, who's in P2. Nick there making a bit of a mistake coming out the front corner. Who's that in the background? That's a lap car. No, it's not. It's Aussie. What's happened to Aussie here? Was that Aussie who made the mistake coming through the chicane? Aussie's dropped down to 9th place here as we start lap 12. 3 laps left to go in the season, and Aussie Albie seems to be trotting around there into turn 1. Mike has got Craig closing in on him here. Craig was 4 tenths quicker than Craig. Can Craig take the fight to Mike and maybe take a win here in this final race of the season? Mutts Nuts, Cobb and John Boy battling out over 3rd place right now, coming out onto the hanger straight once again. Closing stage of the season here at Motive for the BTCC. Currently John Boy looking to the outside here on the Mutts Nuts. Mutts Nuts out down the inside though of Cobb. Who's going to be first into Stowe corner? It's going to be the Mutts Nuts who gets the move done there on Cobb up into the podium places. As things stand, Cobb has not got enough places, has not got enough drivers between himself and John Boy to get second in the championship. I think John Boy is in for a P2 in this season's standings. I will work it out just to double check at the end afterwards, but I think that John Boy will take it on the basis that this will become his drop round tonight, because this has been most definitely his worst point scoring round of the season so far. As down the inside, John Boy on Cobb up into 4th place, so he's now ahead of Cobb anyway, and so won't need the additional help of his drop round worsening to help him take P2. Currently he's got that move on Cobb on the track at the moment. Mike leads the race by just over 2 seconds with Craig in 2nd place. Mutts Nuts there running in the final podium place. So you've got the 2 drivers who are battling out over second in the championship here, Cobb and John Boy, as Cobb's got the run on John Boy down towards Maggots and he's got ahead of him here. So Cobb back up into P4 right now. Keeping an eye on Doris, Charlie and Nick, because these guys are running quite close in 6th, 7th and 8th places at this point. Mike though out in front, leading us down the hanger straight into Stowe corner once again. He's gapped just over 2 seconds to Craig there in 2nd place. There's the Mutts who's defending here from Cobb. Cobb around the outside here into Stowe corner. Can he get this one around the outside? He's going to look. He goes a little bit wide there onto the grass though, and the Mutts Nuts continues on his way through. As here comes John Boy. He's going to mug both of them there. John Boy down the inside into club corner. Flash the lights there from him. John Boy's going to keep himself there on the inside, but Mutts Nuts there squeezes around the outside of him here as they come through into Priory now, side by side, as Mutts is trying to get a run here. John Boy a bit wide onto the grass here, down towards the chicane we go. John Boy's going to have this one covered off right now as he moves himself up into 3rd place. Beautifully done there. Mutts gives him a bit of a tap there coming to the final corner. John Boy holds it though as we start the final lap of the race, and John Boy up into 3rd place, and I think the second in the championship should now be his. Pretty much safe and sound here, I'd say. Even if Cobb manages to get ahead of him, as I said before, John Boy will score his drop score tonight because he's in 3rd place right now. He scored 34 points in the first race, no points in the second race. As it stands, he'll get 3rd place in this final race of the night, which would be 28 points. It would be a 62-point haul for him over the course of tonight. That would now become his drop round, because his drop round previously was 66 points, which would give him a 4-point swing in favour of Cobb. Obviously Cobb now 2 places behind him, so that would mean that John Boy would be 8 points ahead of Cobb as things stand before we get to the end of this race. If Cobb were to finish ahead of John Boy, it would be John Boy would still take second in the championship by 2 points. So even if Cobb were to get ahead of both of the Mutts Nuts and John Boy on this final lap, John Boy would still take second in the championship by 2 points. But here we come into the final part of the lap. It's going to be Mike, who's got now a 3.5 second lead over Craig. He's just put a lap there on Aussie Albie as well. So Mike, final few corners here for our champion of this season. They had 2 championships before this season. Last season raced as a reserve, so wasn't in contention to take his 3rd title. This season he's going to tie it up with John Boy for 3 championships apiece in the BTCC. He's going to go out on a high as well with the race victory in the final race of the season. It's going to be Mike for the final time this season here in the BTCC for season 14, who takes the race win at Silverstone Classic. Craig comes over to take 2nd place, with John Boy holding on for 3rd ahead of the Mutts Nuts in 4th, with Cobb over in P5. Doris Steer is going to come around to take P6 here in this final race of the season ahead of Charlie Goff, who finishes this one in 7th place, with RJ Dale over in 8th. Nick Levilla not too far behind here in 9th place, is just coming through to take the checkered flag. But well done to Mike once again for taking the Touring Car Championship for the 3rd time here at Motive, and him and John Boy now have 3 apiece. 6 titles between these two. I hope we see Mike on the grid next season, but I heard maybe he might be having to focus on his studies for a season, so he won't be with us maybe. So we won't see the battle for 4 between these two.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe if Cobb can nick one off of John Boy next season, we could see the battle for 4 between Mike and John Boy the season after, but we'll have to see. But nonetheless, Revolt Dieter comes over to take P10, and Team W and Aussie Albie have finished in 11th and 12th places. That is that then for season 14 here at Motive Racing for the BTCC. Mike, your champion for the 3rd time with Craig and John Boy joining him on the podium for this final race of the season. Mike also nabbing the fastest lap. It wouldn't have made any difference anyway. He'd already got a championship, but for good measure there, rubbing salt in the wounds and showing that he was the man to be over the course of this season, with the drop rounds coming into play. But also, I suppose a bit of consolation here for John Boy in a way is that Mike had actually beaten him in terms of the points, overall points. So even if the drop rounds hadn't been in play, Mike would have still won the championship. I suppose that's a bit of solace there for John Boy, and maybe also for Mike as well, knowing that the championship fully deserved from all sides. But Mike, your champion for season 14. Commiserations to John Boy, who nonetheless takes second in the championship ahead of Cobb, who gets the bronze once again. I think it's the third season in a row that Cobb's finished third in the championship, so he'll be looking to try and build on that for next season. But guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in over the course of this season. Thanks to all the drivers who have turned up over the course of it as well. Over 20 different drivers actually raced in the championship over the course of the 24 races that we've had over the course of 8 weeks, with 3 races per night. Oh, great stuff, guys. Thanks everybody once again. Make sure you keep an eye out for the sign-ups drivers, because they will be coming out very soon. But yeah, thanks everybody once again. We'll see you in the next season. Take it easy everybody, and I'm out.
Taking him down when you go down.